Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Ember Sky Filmmaking Podcast, where we're going to be talking with Chris Wyllie about how to be your own producer, director, and lead actor, and apparently everything else for your first feature film. So, welcome to the stage. Here's Chris. Hi,
How's it
Chris.
going?
I'm doing pretty good, and because I have buggered it up, what is the name of your feature film? I'm going to make you
The
say it.
movie is called The Hejira Frequency. It's
Awesome.
a very strange title.
And what were all the tasks that you had to do on this film other than producer, director,
Oh
lead
gosh.
actor?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to we had an amazing crew and an amazing cast, so not to make but this is a project I've had in my head for like 20 years, so eventually got it done, but the script has gone through so many drafts. And just as I was getting it, I had actually put it together as a TV series, trying to pitch that to Netflix and everybody. And then the pandemic happened, and then we were coming out of that, and I was like, no, I'm just going to shoot it as an indie with change the entire script again. So it's gone through its share of drafts, but yeah, I wrote, produced, first time producing, first time directing. Yeah, never directed a short film in my life. Like I've had hundreds in my head and just never got it done.
You
Mostly
jumped
because
in with
I am an
both
actor.
2 feet.
What's that?
You jumped in with both 2 feet
Yes. Well, I
at
always,
first.
I've been acting since, I was a kid, and I always knew I'd get into directing at some point. I just thought it would be later in life. And then, as you're acting and doing all these auditions, whether it's in person or self tape, and you're not getting as many as you want, you got to take life by the horns in your own hands. So, yeah, finally, I have a bunch of scripts and a bunch of projects that I'm trying to get off the ground. So, I just thought, what was the most unrealistic, ridiculous one to get started with? So, we took the one with the biggest cast, the most special effects. More, yeah, every rule of first time filmmaking I did not adhere to, but that's okay. It made for a really awesome movie.
So I have to ask, how much like, when you say cast, uh, how big a cast was in this movie? Because I know managing all the people is, like, one of the biggest things nobody ever seems to talk about.
No, for sure. Yeah, I think the full cast was nine, plus, you could say 11. But and then the end scene is a big, massive concert. It's about a rock band. So you got an outdoor concert with what was supposed to be 500 extras, which ended up becoming about 50 extras, but we're going to fill that in with CG. And it's yeah, it was like I said, I got a bunch of these, and it was my most ambitious one. And they always say, don't do anything with more than one location, don't do anything with more than a couple characters, because you want to keep the cast small, the crew small, especially if you've never done a film or directed a film. You want to you want to start on something a little smaller. But yeah, it was I don't know, man. Divine intervention. That's all I can. The amount of divine intervention that's gone into, from the concept of this film to the times it didn't get done, to it's sometimes the universe just pulls you, in a certain place and says, "This is the one. Do this one. Don't worry about it." And yeah, only a couple times that's happened in my life. When I met my wife, it's like you're just being guided. When I went to LA,
Mhm.
just like, and this felt like that. It was just, you don't have to stress, because if I started thinking about the minutia of it or the logistics of it, I would have. You couldn't get through it. Like, and again, not to say I didn't have an amazing crew and all the guys, and we got our little team, and I'm going to work with them all again. It was amazing, but for the last 20 years, I felt like a one man crew here. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
it's about a rock band. So I've been playing in bands my whole life. And when I wanted to, if I wanted to jam, you got 5 drummers on the phone, you got 100 guitarists. I don't know. I know a lot of actors, but I never grew up with that group of friends that just like shot movies together.
Mhm.
So I do like little setups where I just shoot myself, but never amounted to anything. So got this whole crew together, and yeah, it's a nice little movie. It's coming along very, very nicely.
Alright. So I guess my next question is, you star in it. Why did you think that was a good idea to do it? Like, I'm not
Oh my god.
questioning you
Okay.
being an actor. I'm just wondering, with everything else you had on your mind, you said,
No, and
"And I
yeah,
want to
man.
star in it."
No, and I swear, like the whole point of writing these, because writing, I got the worst ADD, and sitting down to write is a
Right.
tedious thing for me. But I got all my stories I want to tell. I'd like to do notes and have somebody else just sit and do it. But yeah, the thing about this one was it wasn't about making a project for myself, which is why I'm writing
Mhm.
these. But then it became it's about this story. Just tell the story. Like even Ben Affleck put his brother in his first one, before he started putting himself in it. Yeah, and I knew that was a terrible, terrible idea, but it ended up happening. I had a guy that I worked on a pilot, and he was going to play the lead part, and it's how I pictured the part. Like it's more, I'm more. I don't know, like I guess if you think of a rock band, I'd be more like Tom York from Radiohead than I would Kurt Cobain,
Right.
long blonde hair, good, and I had this guy, and he had the perfect like Kurt Cobain look. And the movie takes place in the '90s, and I was going to do this whole thing. And then when I rewrote it as an indie feature, it's just weird, man. The way the location changed. It was supposed to be,
Mhm.
Madison Square Garden tour bus, almost famous type thing. And when I didn't have the money to do that, and it becomes about this band at a house doing the writing, they're writing the album, and you get the same
Mhm.
story and the same beats and all that stuff, and made for a much more personal movie like that. All of a sudden, this Kurt Cobain character just didn't work. It was like I was trying to force it. It just wasn't. I couldn't picture him with these characters anymore, with this
Okay.
location and whatever. The whole story about from his what he actually wanted down to what was driving him, it all changed when it became this indie version. And then I was like, no, you want the more boy next door rock sing, like I don't want this pretty boy type thing. So then because I was going to play the drummer, which is based on my little brother. And
Mhm.
it ended up, I was like, no, I got to play this part myself. And then could not, I cast everybody, and I could not get one actor that looked the part, felt the part, and could play drums
Mhm.
to do the drummer. So I got my brother, who's never acted in his life, and I swear to God, steals the movie. Steals the movie. Like I've done test screen. People are just howling, laughing. He's the little, comic relief. All the characters are sort of archetype like that, and he's got
Mhm.
him and the bass player sort of share that C3PO R2D2 dynamic, and he's brilliant, which is amazing. So yeah,
Awesome.
played the part myself. Why is it? I mean, it was just a lot to take on. Actually, for all the daunting aspects to making this, that was one I was just like, holy shit, I could do that. Like and action, and I just burst into tears, and I'm doing this stuff, and I'm playing this music, and I go, okay, we'll cut there, and just wiped them off, and because I didn't have time. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? To stress, or you're just like, no, you're committed now. So give the performance, and then get back to what's the next shot, and did the lighting work and all that stuff. And then I just kept
Mhm.
jumping in and out. I was like, I could do this all day. So it was actually,
Oh, that's
yes.
impressive.
And you know what? I probably gave a better performance, because when I'm sitting in my trailer, and you've worked on it, you got the part, and you're in your trailer, and you're
Mhm.
like, here we go. And they're like, yeah, we're not going to need you for about 2 to 3 hours. And that's when you can sit there and get in your head and go, wait, am I going to play this? What if I played it like this? It's like, you already got the part.
Mhm.
So I'm a bad guy to sit in my head and think over stuff. So when I just go, I seem to do a better job, I think. So yeah,
Right.
performance turned out pretty damn good for considering I was directing, and the directing didn't seem to. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say the directing didn't suffer. It just obviously I could have done a better. When you see what I've done with the shots with the other characters in it, and how I was like, wow, I
Mhm.
can really film the frame, fill the frame, and
Mhm.
get the lighting the way I want it, and get the performance I want. As soon as you see me coming in, all of a sudden, I'm blocking the painting in the background just a bit, and next
Mhm.
time if I was doing it, I'd just have somebody keeping me right there. Like, let's have a mark for him. Let's make sure he hits his mark. But
Mhm.
so I'd say the shots of me aren't always the my most beautifully composited shots, because I'm not behind the camera to do it. But honestly, man,
Mhm.
for a first time friggin' thing, we killed it, I think. So yeah, it all
Yeah,
works.
it definitely
It
looks like a
works.
very nicely stylized movie for sure.
So that's
Um,
my DP. So the whole thing is like I was telling you off camera, I know nothing about tech stuff. I don't know. I'm a very good editor, but I don't know how to use the tool. You know what I mean? I know the
Mhm.
exact frame I want to cut on and where I want it to go, but I don't know how to use Adobe Premiere. You know what I mean? Me and my editor have
Right.
literally been working where I take a 1080 version, put it on my iMovie, cut it the way I cut my, fan edits and stuff on my free time. Swear to God, man, I got into editing just by cutting Jar Jar Binks out of the Phantom Menace. So, uh, yeah.
Oh, I think there's
Oh,
many people who
I
would be
love
very
that
happy with
stuff,
you for
man.
that.
Oh, yeah, but no, this one was so I do like sort of my own cut, send it to him and whatever, and that's he gave me an amazing initial cut, and then that's how we've been working. But what were we talking about? I go off in tangents, by the way, guys. What were we talking about?
Okay. We were talking about how you were doing the editing. Sorry, how you when you were starring in your own thing, you were also directing, and how that affected the movie. And then you were talking about how you ended up having it where you were doing the editing uh, versus like the different framing and stuff when you were there versus other people. And then I was mentioning how it looks like a very stylized
Oh,
movie,
that's what
like
we were saying.
very
Yeah, yeah, the
yeah,
stylized aspect to it. Yeah, so that's my DP. So if anybody's watching this that's in Ottawa, I'm sure most people know Matthew. It's Matthew McDonald. So I got really
mhm,
lucky getting him, and he was just for a DP for some. He just really cared about what the story was about. He's like, I don't want to do this if it's not about anything and whatever. I was like, awesome. And then me and him just had so many talks about color and movies that we both love. And I was like, look, man, this is Close Encounters meets Almost Famous, but I want that ET look. I want that blue light coming in. And he's like, yeah, yeah, we can
mhm,
do that. I was like, can we though? Because I've acted in so many of these movies at this budget, and it's so rare to see. Like everybody's like, you can do it on your iPhone. I was like, can you though? So my thing was like, get a DP if you're gonna pay anybody, And my thing, like obviously, as we all do, we want to make movies that are so big that you can pay everybody what they're worth. But I had to get so many people to do me favors. The whole crap cast was working off an ACTRA MIP agreement, which is an amazing thing that we
uh-huh,
offer. That you can get union actors to work for what they get as a percentage of the film. So I just gave everybody
mhm.
1% of the film, and but I had to get a good DP, so we got Matthew, and it was shot. He comes in with this big cardboard box of what do you call it? Not lenses, colored, the colored paper, the see through. See, I
Oh,
don't
the
know,
gels. Yeah,
gels,
yeah.
gels. And yeah, man, he hooked me up. And then we had all these. So you're getting, I mean, the cast was pretty happy because they're getting an actor directing them. So I was like, dude, this is what we all train for. Like, this is what we do. So it's very much an actor's movie, if you know what I
Okay.
mean. So they really got to, and we're all, the story, but we're all auditioning for Hallmark movies and Christmas movies. And it's nice to get a part where we could, really flesh out these characters and actually talk about them and do what we were all trained to do, what we love about the craft, which
Mhm.
is the coming up with the character and then the execution of it. So yeah, it was Matthew did an amazing job getting that stylized look, and not that the movie did not cost my entire life savings plus every favor I could pull and whatever, but it didn't cost $1 million, and it truly truly looks like it does in some places. So yeah,
That's good.
I'm so proud of just everybody, all the work everybody did, and it was my dream project, and it was the only reason I was able to finally get it done is I just threw away I was like, it doesn't forget if it does anything, man. Like but I got my movie. So even if nobody sees it, if nobody ever buys it, if nobody, if it makes nothing, I made my movie and I'm so happy with it. And it's right now we just got a temp cut with, there's no score. So I've thrown in like John Williams and Hans Zimmer and stuff like that. The soundtrack is like Smashing Pumpkins and Cranberries and Nirvana and all this Radiohead and stuff I can't afford. But I'm very proud, man. It's a good little piece for sure.
Well, we do have a treat because you were nice enough to send it to us. So let's treat the viewers here. This is the first trailer for this movie,
It is the
and we're gonna
first
hit.
trailer. It's more of a marketing promotional piece at the moment, but it works. It'll do the job.
All right. Let's watch that right now, and then we'll get into the hard questions.
Oof, awesome.
That was. They're hitting Midnight Out. Follow-up album. Set to be back in the studio this fall. The band have been on hiatus. It's the tragic death of Angela Cedars, wife of frontman.
You don't like what you're playing, do you?
You know what it is? I don't know what to write anymore. I used to write about your Auntie Lena. Every song I wrote was about her. Even when it wasn't.
It's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Who has an accident and comes back a completely different person?
Daddy, is Malcolm okay?
I think he misses Auntie Lena.
You miss her too.
We're under contract, man.
Yeah, we're on a contract to give him a record. It doesn't say anything about me having to write it.
We need you to do this, Malcolm. The medical bills have taken everything he made on the last record. Did you know that?
I know you've been told this already, but there's a very strong chance your daughter will not survive this disease.
Doesn't any of this mean anything to you?
Does it mean anything? Don't you think any of this shit fucking matters?
No, I can't do this all by myself.
Whatever your issues are, let it go. Because you're fucking up this band.
What is this thing you're writing?
I've never heard anything like that. Have you heard anything like that?
This goes on the album, or the album doesn't happen.
Are you really Uncle Malcolm?
What was that? You're going fucking crazy. That's what's happening. Sometimes a song is just a song.
So there we go. Good luck anyone getting that harmonica sound out of your head now.
Yeah, I know. I was actually taken right off the location. We just did it, and I just threw a little iMovie effect on it. See what you can do with iMovie?
There you go. All right, so you got to tell us, at the end there I had a question. It says 1995, then it says 2024. What's up with those dates?
Well, it's just a little thing to let you know where the movie takes place in 95. So I thought it was a nice little flash cut there in 95, and then no, it's actually now. No, it's just I don't know. I wanted to make it clear during the thing in case you thought these guys were just dressed grungy for the sake of it.
Okay. So no cell phones then.
No cell phones, which, man, if you're writing, it's easier to do something where you can just go back in time and forget there was no cell phones, because every movie you just watch and you're like, why don't they just pull out their cell phone? The movie would be over.
Would be over.
When they don't exist, you got more to work with, I guess. Yeah, no, there's a few times during the movie I was like, oh my God, what would suck is if this wasn't a period piece, because then they could have just got on their cell phone, or there'd be people, with cameras around. They're supposed to be this famous rock band. So it's like, no, that would be a different thing.
So you did film it as a period piece. Obviously no cell phones and stuff like this. I guess the question is, what are some of the other things that you had to sort of figure out how to do? And now that you've probably watched it a dozen times in editing, how many Easter eggs of oopses are there?
Definitely a few. So the kitchen, and we try to block the new type of ovens and microwaves that are there. But if you look, but anytime it's like a close up on something, we got 90s kettles, 90s toasters, 90s what do you call it? Microwave. Every phone that you see in the background is from the 90s or the 80s or the 70s, as long as they work with the room and they look like everything's on cords. Yeah, that was really important to me. And again, it was just they're like, don't do a period piece, because then you have to find all these costumes and props and shit's expensive. But it was really fun. And again, I had to do all the props and the set decorating and the costumes and the wardrobe and all the stuff. So it was finding that stuff was really fun. And I just went on Facebook and everywhere and just put making a movie. If anybody has stuff from the 90s, I'd love to borrow them. I can keep them if you want me to take your trash, or I have no problem returning them, and everybody can get a little thank you at the end of the movie. And it was shocking how many people were willing to do that. And some of them were like, yes, please come take my old VHS tapes. I was like, yes, I don't even have that one. I collect old VHS and stuff too. So I was like, oh, I don't have Aliens on VHS. That's amazing. So, that was really fun. There was this one, they're called garden cats or something, but it's just this mom and pop out of their garage, and they gave me about 90% of the stuff. The costumes, the phones, all the vinyl records, Guitar World magazines that, from every period. So if they were before or if they were after 95, they couldn't be in the shot, and that stuff. Yeah. It's like, you don't have time and you don't have money, but it's what makes the filmmaking part actually really fun. It's really fun just setting up all those sets and stuff. And most of the costumes were either stuff I still had or whatever, or Goodwill, and
that's good. So in terms of like logistics and stuff, did you guys film this over a short period of time, or did you film it like the Ottawa every weekend for like the next 5 to 6 months?
No, it was a 15-day shoot that turned into a 19-day shoot with weekends off. Yeah, it was. So it took us about 4 weeks to do it, and it was. That's the only thing, because I had so much fun, man. I swear, like I was directing it and I was like, this is what I was put here for, man. I was so go and getting my shots, and it was so fun. And you're just like, I just worked 20 hours. Like, you're not supposed to work 20 hours for like 5 days straight, because everybody else is going home, and you're just like, hey, I got to set up this location for the next day's shoot before I go get my couple hours sleep. And it was nothing more fun and satisfying. But I just wish I had more time, to just, the big budget studios give you, it's like, no, you don't have to shoot 10 pages a day. So we always aimed for like 8 to 10 pages a day. And I think we hit my 8 pages twice. Mm-hmm. And it makes you feel like, am I not a filmmaker that can stay on schedule, that can stay on budget? It's just, it was my first one, and it wasn't realistic at all. You know what I mean? For the amount of, I mean, we're shooting this band playing these rock songs, and I got guys that are, learning to play these riffs, and these are real songs that either from my bands that I played in or a buddy of mine's bands that we use for 3 of the songs in the film. And like the guitarist, my buddy Drew there, he had to learn all these solos and stuff, we got to get these shots. And yeah, it was, I'm surprised it didn't take long. I'm surprised we didn't go more over schedule, but it would have been nice to just take your time and be like, guys, this is what we're going to get today. It's only 3 pages, but it's a big scene. It's a big thing. So, but I was all wired on coffee and I just went. So you just get her done.
Nice. So what would you say it was the most difficult scene to shoot that, you weren't in? Let's go with that, because I'm sure
That I
this is gonna be
wasn't
what's
in.
the most difficult scene. You know what the follow-up question is going to be, but the difficult scene that you weren't in.
Not to make this, the main character, Malcolm, he's in most of the movie. It's very much an ensemble movie, but not to give it, I don't want to give it much away, which is why we structured the trailer the way we did, right? 1, special effects aren't done yet, but 2, I don't want to give too much away, but it's, we did have all the scenes that don't involve Malcolm were character scenes. And I just, once we got the framing that I wanted and, the shot list that I wanted, they weren't, anything that was a problem was the fun stuff to fix. Like, let's sit as actors and talk about, it's like, we got the frame, we got the lighting, leave it to Matthew. It's gorgeous. It's going to be great. Let's talk, because my whole thing was getting the performances out of these actors, right? And which needed basically no help whatsoever. But say I had a different take. There's one scene, again, not to give something away, but anything away, where 2 of the characters have had a really emotional revelation, and they're having this discussion, and my buddy Brennan wanted to play it a certain way, and it was just really important to me. And you don't want to give line readings to actors, and you want them to, but I felt I really gave everybody free reign to come up with these characters, who they were with, and just if you could fit inside, just my box is pretty big, within there you can play, come up with stuff. Like, they all came up with so many things for who their characters were and everything, which is amazing. But there was just this thing, I was like, there's a thing where he's looking a certain way. I was like, you can't look at her. Like, he's talking, I was like, you cannot look at her. Whatever it takes for you as an actor to get there, I need you that he can't look at her. And it's really important to me. Like, your eyes are, you can't, man. And we sort of had discussions about it. And at the end of the day, you're like, well, I'm glad it's my final decision. But I know there was a couple times when they're like, I want to play it this way. And, you just, those are the only hard things, because all the special effects were, all the practical effects, like, which is just lighting effects and stuff. It's pretty straightforward and easy. I'll let you know in a month from now how the visual effects go. But no, lighting those was fun and not a problem. But yeah, and emotional stuff, that's the fun stuff. That's the coming to why these characters are in this moment and how they're feeling, and having a discussion about that. And at the end of the day, it's a collaborative thing, and you have to make a decision. You got to pick, and you got to go with that choice, right? And you can't be halfway in between 2 choices. So we went there. But again, I'm coming up with something for you, because it wasn't hard.
Yeah.
It wasn't hard at all. The hard thing was always sticking to schedule, getting everybody out on time. We had the little girl in the movie, and every time we'd go over, I was like, this isn't right. Like, kids are supposed to work this many hours and be let go. We got to stick to these things. And it's hard. It's really hard. And, it's your first movie, and you're just like, man, this is difficult to get through. But as far as scene to scene, for a scene I wasn't in, no, they were all pretty straightforward. Just crunch time on every time.
All right. And I guess follow-up question here is, for a scene that you were in.
There you go.
What did you find was the hardest scene, like, as I guess the actor director, to say, did I get it right, or did you do it, or from a point that you're in that scene and you want to give it your all, but
Yeah, nothing like that. Nothing with my performance. Maybe it's because I've written so many drafts of this movie, and like, you're just there, and I was like, I know exactly where I want him to start, where I want him to get to, what thing he's in, and the guy's lost his wife, so a lot of it's really there on the page, and it's my page. So, but it wasn't emotional stuff. Like I said, it's almost better. I just had no time to okay, I need 10 minutes, guys, to get there. You're just like, roll the camera while we're doing that. And I'm just like hitting myself and everybody's like, fuck's sake, bro. I was like, just fuck it, and then you go, you do it, you say cut, and then you got to get on to the next thing. And then it was very rare that I even watched any playback because, again, we just didn't have time. So, yeah, my performance is in there for that. I'm proud of it anyway, but I'm quite proud that I had to, go through. So it wasn't an emotional problem. The stuff I was in, whether it was the band scenes, especially the final scene with the concert, and you got all these extras, and it was that's the hardest day of work of my entire life. Like I can't even remember. I sort of blocked it out of my mind. I'm watching the shots and I'm just like, I wasn't, it was too much, man. It was too much. And I'm like, I don't have a megaphone, so I'm losing my voice, like yelling to all these extras and telling everybody what the movie's about and why they're there. And they're just like, what the hell is happening? So, and then I had to go with the actors and I was like, does everybody know the song? And then we're going and you're syncing up to the music. And it was just crazy. Like the scenes with the bands in the rooms, in the house were tough enough. They were the hardest days until we shot that final concert scene. I thought I was just going to fall down. I thought my knees would buckle. And then you're up there and, I'm playing guitar with this violin bow. I'm like, the fuck is this movie going to be, man? So,
yeah. Is there a significance with the violin bow on the guitar? Is that something you can tell us? Because I saw that in the trailer and I was like, what is he doing?
Well, the movie, so the elevator pitch for the film is a singer in a 90s rock band gets in an accident and starts hearing music from another world. And I always pitch it as Close Encounters meets Almost Famous. But this, the whole thing is the music that he's hearing. Why, where did he get, why is he hearing it? Who's giving it to him, and, is it angels from heaven? Is it aliens from another planet? And you got to sort of watch the movie, figure out what it's all about. But, what was the question? What were we talking about?
Oh, why were you playing the violin?
Oh, the violin bow. Yeah. Violin, but yeah, it's just spoiler alert, but you will hear the alien music at the end of the film. And the violin bow, there's a lot of stuff. I'm going in the studio this month to do all the re-recording for all the songs. So I'm probably going to play all the drums and the bass and the guitar and the singing myself and all that. And, but we got a few songs that are just going to be remixed because they're good the way they are. And that alien song is actually, there's a band me and my buddy did that he wrote. He was really into all this weird stuff at the time, and he came up with all this stuff. So I'm like, can I just have that song, take the lyrics out, and put in some alien vocals? He's like, why? I'm making a movie. And he's like, yeah. So yeah, that was actually a song that we'd played. That actually had English, regular vocals, and we've taken it out. And we're turning it into a song. That's the whole movie was inspired by this band I heard way back 20 years ago called Sigaros. For anybody that doesn't hear, they toured once with Radiohead, and my buddy's like, you got to hear these guys. So they're from Iceland and they sing in Icelandic. But he put out this one album, this great album. It's just an open bracket and a closed bracket. That's the name of the album. But he actually just made up his own language, like Tolkien, for this thing. And we heard it and we were just like, that sounds like angels, but it also sounds like aliens. And which one is it? And that was where the concept came. And it just shows how long it can take to get something done sometimes. But it's the violin bow is just part of all the other sounds that you'll hear at the end of the film they'll be very different from the grunge rock sound that you're hearing throughout the film. And if I had my way, I would get a soundtrack full of Smashing Pumpkins and Nirvana and all that stuff and Pearl Jam. But what are you gonna do? We'll see where it goes.
So do you have any advice to anyone who thinks about trying to do the same thing of, I guess, making an first-time ACTRA movie?
Yeah, the ACTRA thing. That's because it is something I can touch on. I'm not the filmmaker that can really explain, equipment or all that stuff to you. I trust my DP and my lighting guys to do that. So, where I can help is as far as working with actors, especially in Canada. Not saying go for it, but look into this MIP agreement thing. It's pretty. I couldn't have got my movie otherwise, or else I would have had to make a non-union film where I wasn't in it, right? And again, I wasn't going to play the lead. I was going to play the drummer, but I wanted to be in it. I was like, look, I'm making this movie. I want to be an actor. Like this filmmaking thing is pretty hard. You know what I mean? And then I make one. I was like, oh, that's all I want to do now. But check out the MIP agreement. That's what I'd say as far as actors. As far as working with actors, if you're not one, the only thing, I mean, that's a whole conversation. Just it's everything. It's everything to me anyway. And these directors sometimes that are so about the look or their high concept or whatever. It's just like, not to say they all think actors are props or anything, but it's like, yeah, they did the lines, but what's the point and where's the emotion? And I remember starting out, I was like, is this what, because I was on stage, I was doing theater, and I was like, is this what movie making is? Like, does somebody just go that bland and then you go in the editing room and it's Robert De Niro, and you realize if it's not there, if you can't see it, it's not going to be there. You gotta. So my thing is, however you would do it, and I'm an acting teacher as well, and I'm an actor my whole life, so I love working with actors and pulling out the why and how do we get there, and learn how to do that. And on top of that, at least start with knowing that it's not nothing, it's everything. If otherwise your beautiful shot is just going to have some cardboard statue there, doing, not emoting. And where's the point of that?
Yep, indeed. I think we've all seen some very flat acting from people on occasion. All right. And I guess the next question I think people are going to want to know is, when can they see this movie? Which I still don't know how to pronounce.
The Hejira frequency. The Hejira, by the way, Hejira is a Joni Mitchell song, but it is also an Arabic word that means Exodus. Okay, so it is the Exodus frequency, the Hejira frequency.
There you go.
And if one day I get to take this concept and turn it into a long drawn out series, I'd be able to get more into the Middle Eastern, Islamic side of it. I suppose it's just like, not that it's just something I wanted to do, but next time. So what would I say? What are we saying? Just what was the question?
For people who want to see this movie, what is the plan?
Right. Yeah, it'll be 2024, and we're going for summer 2024. I'm recording the songs in the studio this month, and then I am going to sound and special effects. And what I'm really doing right now is trying to get new investors involved, because I have put every dime I have ever made into this thing, and I think it's in a good place now where I think I can, I get this script. People going, okay, man, it's not, it may seem like a risk, if that makes sense. And then, but if you shoot the thing yourself, and you're like, I did it for that, I just need a couple bucks for, special effects and sound, so that I'm not emptying my own bank account again. That's where I'm at. So I'm trying to find investors, trying to find interest in distributors, and looking at different avenues of distribution, whether I self-distribute or go with somebody. But I actually, thank goodness, got a few people that are pretty up there in the industry, and they are helping me out. So fingers crossed, and we'll see where that goes. But it is definitely going to be summer 2024. And I mean, the dream, I guess, for me would be TIFF, right? But I would, we'll see what happens. But
we can all dream of TIFF.
We can all dream of TIFF. It's my first movie. I wouldn't, but it's honestly, I'm not joking around. It is very good. I can't believe that it's turned out as well. And I was like, oh, those story beats add up, and that shot perfectly goes into that one. And look, that scene cuts to that one, and you got the music behind it, and you're just like, this thing moves. And it's really, it is not perfect. And I'm so happy I did it this way. You know what I mean? Like that, it just Jackson Pollocked it. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, things will never get done. I am a perfectionist in the worst way. That doesn't mean like everything I touch has to be amazing. It means I don't do anything at all. Nothing gets done because it'll never be good enough. It'll never be good enough,
Yeah.
you know. And then you just one day got to go. Let's go, bro. So we went.
Indeed. Oh, let's give it a second here. I'm just gonna go through my list.
Go through the notes.
Well, I try to write little questions and say, what can I ask people? And then I say, okay, so I guess my next question is there anything else that you want to say about this movie? Anything you want to tell people other than show up, watch it, and if you happen to know somebody who can get you into TIFF, get you into TIFF.
Okay. So right now, all I can say is
no idea how to get into TIFF.
All I can say right now is keep your eyes on it. So if you go to fenixfilms.com, that is FENICKS films.com, you can keep your eyes on it there. You can go to my website at christopherwyllie.ca. Wyllie is WYLLIE.ca. And there'll be a link to Phoenix Films there and to the Hejira frequency, which once we know where it's going to be, once we know that it has a home, we know where that home is, then I will keep everybody posted, and hopefully we can get as many eyes on it as possible, because I do think, with the 80s nostalgia we've all done and whatever, and it's still going, I know what the 90s nostalgia is going to look like, and I've seen a couple of them, they're starting, and nobody wants to do it this way. Like my childhood, like I was in the 80s, but my 90s was very specific to me, and it's just, when you watch the video for Smells Like Teen Spirit, I felt like I was there. There's a color thing that was like, it was, I don't know, man. And there's a tone, and there's a somberness, there's a melancholy, there's a sort of sadness that I just know it's the good kind of sad. All right, guys, that it's that warm blanket. I'm sick, I've got the flu on a bad day, but I've got my bowl of cereal and my blanket. I mean, that to me is what the movie feels like. And it's got really great characters. It's got a phenomenal acting, not by myself, just everybody just came to play. It looks like $1 million movie, and it's something very special that didn't just mean a lot to me, ended up meaning a lot to a lot of people. And honestly, I think if you guys check it out, you will have an emotional experience. I promise you that. You'll feel something. And I've screened it a few times, and everybody cries at the end. So if you can get an audience to cry at the end with your temp cut, your goal, right? It's on its way. And I think the final cut's going to be great. And I'm very proud of it. I'm very excited for it. And I hope it finds a good home. And I hope you guys can all see it, because if any of you are those 90s kids and you're just like, I don't get this. Like, I was there. It's not this. This to me feels very genuine.
Very good. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming on today, Chris. And
thank you so much, Graham. This is awesome.
And to everyone else, thank you for watching all the way to the end. Please be sure to give a like, subscribe if you want to hear more about filmmakers and what filmmakers are up to. And if you want to check out the Frequency movie that I still can't figure out the way to pronounce that name.
You'll get there, Graham. You'll get there, buddy.
The link is below.
Thanks very much, man.
All right. Thank you very much. And just to end off the note, I'm a little evil, and we're done.